Okay, now we're going to lay out the guides. I got your tip top. I got 4 number 3s, 4 number 4s. I got a number 10 stripping guide and a number 12 stripping guide. These are just double-footed Virtus ring lock guides, nothing special. The upper guides are snake guides, American Tackle snake guides, and then I have a large loop tip top. After we have our guides together, first thing we want to do is spine the top half of the blank. This is much easier. The upper sections on the fly rods are just so easy to spine because they're so limber. Once you find your spine, mark it up. And then you get ready to put your tip top on. For the tip top, I will take a little bit of tip top adhesive. I'm going to scuff the end. And then put my tip top on. There are tons of videos on how to put tip tops on. Once I'm happy with the tip top position, I'll adjust it where I need to, and then I'll check it against the spine of the blank. I really don't want to move this tip top once it's on. I will if I absolutely have to, but I want it in line with my spine. Once I'm happy with the way it looks, we're ready to set it up and get ready to start measuring our guide placement. Okay, the way I do guide placement is very simple. There are tons of charts online that show you where you want to place everything like that. I'm actually bringing one up here on my phone so I can double check it. I got the rod in a rod holder that's connected to a board that's on the ground. First thing I want to do is measure all the guides based on the chart. So for 9-foot rod, I like to have 10 guides plus the tip top. That's a pretty standard thing. The cheaper rods will have less guides, but for 9-foot blank, you really want 10 guides. That's 2 strippers, 8 runners. So since this is a 2-piece blank, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be double checking where that guide's going in between sections. This is kind of important because you can't put a guide in between sections if it's right in the middle of this where the 2 sections come together. So sometimes you have to make some adjustments on the rod in order for that to work. I will then do a bend test and just look at the marks that I made on the blank and pretend like lines going through it and make sure that the line's going through it as straight as possible. And if I don't like something, I'll move it around and then take some measurements and adjust as need be. You may not be able to do this right away, or you may be intimidated by this, but let me tell you something, it's not that hard, it's not that bad. Just double checking all my measurements, making sure they're right. Like I said, sometimes you need to make adjustments to that midsection. Okay guys, the reason I wanted to bring this part of the video was not how to wrap a guide, but how to deal with the ferrules on the rod, where the rods come together. Fortunately, this is a two-piece blank, so I only have one ferrule where the two pieces come together. And I want to reinforce that with thread and epoxy. Now, luckily here I have a guide in position to where the thread wrap of the guide will cover the ferrule as well, leaving about an 8-inch gap between the end of the section and the start of the thread wrap. If your guide was, say, 2 inches up from this, you would probably put maybe a 1/4 to a 1/2 inch thread wrap right where the ferrule is, about 1/8 of an inch from the end, and then cover it in epoxy. That way you would strengthen that ferrule where the two sections come together. Now, this holds true also for 2-piece and 3-piece blanks. 4-piece fly rods, you got to deal with, 3 different ferrules, so you need to make sure they're reinforced. They're all reinforced from the factory, but there's nothing wrong with giving a little added security, especially when you're building a custom rod. Now, I'm wrapping this guide on. All my fly rods, I like to use A thread to try and keep the action of the rod as true as possible. I would show you putting the rest of the eyes on the fishing rod, but once you have your marks on there, wrapping a guide is always the same. I'm more worried about the nuances on how to deal with ferrules. The difference between a fly and a spinning rod and its actions and things you need to worry about. Once you learn these basics, though, it works the same throughout the rods. Now, A thread's a little different to work with, especially if you're used to D thread. Just takes a little bit more time and patience. A little bit more packing, but works fine. Guys, I really hope you liked this video. There will be a part 3 that will show you the finished product and also a brief review on what I think of this Matrix American Tackle Rod Fishing Blank. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell icon. That way you get notified when new videos post and also when the part 3 posts. Thanks again for watching.